Yo, sometimes life calls for a change. Not fake, just different. It'll show you a different way. And right now, I'm on to my different way. I can promise you this is the same span, but the reporting is over. I'd like to welcome you to the Mr. Span Official Podcast. Let's go. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 3 of the Mr. Span Official Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Span, and it's been a week since the last time I talked to y'all, man. I do plan on doing these more frequently because of some of the changes that we've made to the show, but life and shit, right? Life and shit. But before we get into what we're gonna talk about tonight, I do want to remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at Mr. Span Official, so you can, chime in on these conversations and contribute and let your voice be heard, right? So you can go ahead and hit us up at our hotline at area code 313-288-0485. This area code 313-288-0485. Leave us those voicemail messages, and of course those messages will get played here live on the show and responded to in kind. You can also email us here at feedback@thespanreport.com. That's feedback@thespanreport.com. Go ahead, leave us those emails, and of course those emails will get read here and replied to here live on the show as well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Span. So you can go ahead and follow me there, chop it up with your man Span throughout the week. Also, man, hit me up on like Instagram and shit. Did I just say that? I'm tripping. No. This is what I meant to say. iTunes and Stitcher Radio. If you're listening to us on iTunes and on Stitcher Radio, man, go ahead, leave your boy a 5-star review, man. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that, man. Real talk. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Span Report Podcast Network and the Mr. Span Official Podcast specifically, right? And so, yeah, man, there's a bunch of different ways you can get in touch with us here, man. But by and large, man, like I want y'all to reach out, man, and contribute to these conversations, man, because we're gonna be talking about some things. We're gonna try to take some deep dives and whatnot. We're not necessarily, because of the way we used to do the show. We used to have like maybe 10 to 12 fucking topics, man. Nah, man, we're gonna dive into the one. We're gonna talk about the one and like really get into it and like try to flesh that thing out, right? So that's what we're doing here at the Mr. Span Official Podcast. But a couple like little random things I was kind of thinking about, or some things I saw over the course of the week that I kind of wanted to bring to the audience and see how you guys felt about it and whether or not I was tripping or whatever else. But this one right here, though, specifically deals with some Chicago shit, right? Now, you guys know your man Span is born in Chicago, man. I've been in Detroit, in the Detroit metropolitan area for the better part of I want to say over 20 years now, right? So I've spent more time in Michigan and the Detroit area than I have in Chicago, but Chicago is still home, right? And so there's certain things about Chicago where like Chicago natives are very we're sensitive about our shit, right? We're sensitive about our shit. And one of the things that we are very sensitive about is how Chicago food is represented across the nation, man. Yeah, man, we not gonna take too much, we not suffering no fools when it comes to the food that comes out of Chicago. Now, as someone who is from Chicago and I love Chicago, I'll tell you this right now, though. New Orleans, when it comes to food, like Chicago and New Orleans are pretty much like 1 and 1A to me. Like, real talk. When I go to New Orleans, man, it's mostly for the food and the drink. The atmosphere is cool. The people are cool, but it's the food and the drink, man. I really appreciate the time that I spend down there in New Orleans. New Orleans has become a very special place to your man Span. But because I'm a native of Chicago, we don't take too kindly to, outsiders from Chicago, talking down about our shit, right? And one of the things that kind of brought this up was I saw on Twitter, I want to say it was about a week ago or so, and there was this one young lady on Twitter. She was talking about how, people from Chicago act like we get paid to defend the food that comes out of Chicago, or like to promote the food that comes out of Chicago. Right now, what brought this up was she had posted a picture of some chicken, right? Really good chicken plate. Really good chicken plate. And she was talking about how good the chicken was from this place, right? Turns out a Chicago staple, Harold's Chicken, has taken their asses down to Atlanta, Georgia.
I'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
Now, I've already talked to y'all about how offended I am that, like, you know, Harold's went all the way down to fucking Atlanta, but they ain't came to Detroit yet. You know what I'm saying? As a Detroit native, as a Chicago native living in Detroit, I would love to not have to always go to Chicago to get the Harold's, right? Like, I've turned my daughter on to the Harold's Chicken. My wife loves the Harold's Chicken, but like every time I go home to Chicago, the first place we go is the Harold's Chicken, because that's just like it's what we do, right? Now, young lady, she talks about, you know, like how good the chicken was, but everybody in her mentions was saying like, yo, you know, Harold's Chicken, that's a Chicago spot, right? Because we prideful in our shit. Now, truthfully speaking, there's a lot of Chicago transplants down in Atlanta. As a matter of fact, my man Taurus is down there with Taurus Protection Agency. Him and his wife is down there. They done built the business and built the life down there. Wonderful thing. My man Sean is down there. He's doing the podcast and radio thing down there. Wonderful thing. But they took Harold's Chicken down in Atlanta. The Atlantans are loving the Harold's Chicken, and she's mad that the Chicagoans in Atlanta is telling her that the chicken is from Chicago. Like, how dare you, ma'am? Like, they just like it's civic pride, man. That's all. That's civic pride. Now, if it had been some Atlanta shit, then trust and believe. I truly believe that the Atlantans would be like, yo, man, y'all know this is some Atlanta shit, right? Y'all know this is some Atlanta shit. So you got that going on, right? Now, the thing is, again, like I said, Harold's Chicken being in other municipalities, you know, I'm still upset that they ain't brought their asses to Detroit. You know what I'm saying? There's a J&J's here. That's a Chicago establishment too, but there's only the one. I've only seen the one here, and like, wait, I take that back. There's two. There's two in the Metro Detroit area, but they ain't Harold's, man. They ain't Harold's. So I'm waiting for Harold's to like bring their asses here to Michigan, to Detroit specifically, right? It ain't happened yet. But I did see this on Twitter a couple days ago, right? Let me pull this up so you guys can watch this right along with your man Span. This young lady, apparently there's a Harold's Chicken. There's a Harold's Chicken in Los Angeles, California.
God damn!
So far from Chicago. Like, if y'all can get a Harold's Chicken in Los Angeles, damn it, y'all can bring a Harold's Chicken to Detroit, right? But as someone from Chicago knows, all Harold's Chickens ain't created equal. Like, you got some locations you be like, nah, I don't know about that one. And you got some like, yeah, that's the one right there, right? Now, as you guys are looking at this photo, right? As a matter of fact, for those of you who are not watching us live here, I'm going to go ahead and read this tweet off to you. She says, Harold's Los Angeles, count your freaking days. I ordered a side of greens, and this is the side of greens, right? And so it's a picture, essentially, of like a sauce cup with greens in it's greens in the sauce cup, y'all. Yeah, it's greens in the sauce cup. It's almost like the same size sauce cup that you get at a legitimate Harold's Chicken where they put the coleslaw in that nobody eats, right? You get coleslaw with your meal, but nobody really fucks with the coleslaw. They know what we there for. We there for the chicken and we there for the fish, right? Now, as I'm looking at this, she's mad at the serving of the greens that she has, right? Now, first things first. People from Chicago, I've asked my family from Chicago, I've asked all my friends from Chicago to take a look at this picture and find out what the fuck is wrong with this picture, right? And first things first, man. You don't get greens from Harold's Chicken, nigga. Like, you just don't. That's not what they do. That's just not what Harold's Chicken does. You don't go to Harold's Chicken and get greens. It's not even on the fucking menu at a legitimate Harold's Chicken. Like, you just don't do that. Like, they don't do fucking greens, right? And so she says she ordered a side of greens at a Harold's Chicken. That bothered me. The other thing that's bothering me right now is looking at this like this. It looks like she got catfish, right? It looks like she got catfish and fries, right? And as I'm looking at the catfish, I'm like, yo, man, where the fuck is the mild sauce, right? And as I, scan the picture a little bit more, they got the mild sauce in some cups. This lady ordered the catfish dinner from Harold's Chicken and got the mild sauce on the goddamn side.
I'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
As a Chicagoan, that is motherfucking blasphemy. You do not do that. That's not what we do. That is not what we do at Harold's Chicken. So I'm going to tell all of you people who are eating Harold's Chicken from like other locations, whether it be in Atlanta, whether it be in Miami, whether it be in Georgia, whether it be in California, whether it be in Las Vegas, if they selling macaroni and cheese, if they selling greens, if they selling lobster bites, that ain't no goddamn Harold's Chicken, goddamn it. That ain't what we do at the Harold's Chicken. That ain't what they do at the Harold's Chicken. Ain't no real Chicagoan gonna tell you to get no goddamn greens at a fucking Harold's Chicken, right? Now, the other thing that I thought was interesting about this, man, was so the Harold's Chicken location in Los Angeles decided that they were going to respond to this young lady on social media, which I think was like kind of fucked up, right? Because I get it, y'all don't want social media to think that y'all are out here shorting people, but and like there's a whole thing about how people comport themselves and whether or not they're misrepresenting what's going on at the Harold's Chicken, but this Harold's Chicken, decided that they wanted to let everybody know that what she ordered wasn't what she presented to social media, and they wanted to call her out, right? And they say they serving, but here's where it backfires though, bruh. Harold's Chicken don't sell greens, bruh. They put the menu up. They got macaroni and cheese on there. They got greens on there. Nigga, that's not what y'all do. That's not what Harold's Chicken does. And as a Chicagoan, I'm appalled. I am motherfucking appalled that y'all would even pass this shit off to everybody across this country. This is what Harold's Chicken is about. Fuck y'all. So to everybody in Atlanta and everybody in Los Angeles and everybody in Las Vegas and wherever else they got a Harold's Chicken that's serving greens and macaroni and cheese and shit, just know that you got a bootleg goddamn Harold's Chicken. I am not going to allow this sort of blasphemy to stand. We sensitive about our shit in Chicago. And goddamn it, this will not be allowed to stand. So yeah. I wanted to express that and shit, because, like I said, we sensitive about our shit, man. Real talk. I hated that. I hate that it even happened, Yeah. I want some Harold's right now. Half white, mild sauce with catfish. Because the mild sauce is the shit, man. You don't get the mild sauce on the side. It's not for dipping. It's for slurping. That's what that mild sauce is for. For real. That's what it's for. No doubt, man. But man, that's one of those things I was just kind of thinking about over the course of the last week, man. Yeah, chicken is always on my mind. It is. Real talk. But so yeah, that's crazy. But no, what I really wanted to talk about tonight though, man, was there's this thing, and this is something I've been kind of like thinking about over the course of the last few weeks as I've been observing social media and some of the things that I've been seeing on social media. There's this thing that I'm noticing of what I think and what I believe may be a bit of oversharing, right? And the reason why I believe these are things that are a bit of oversharing, and I kind of want to talk about this and kind of dive into it, is that I'm 42 years old, man. And I'm of the age where like we started social media. Like I can remember a time where like social media was the chat rooms where you would go and it would be either on, you'd have like blackvoices.com where you had chat rooms there. You had the Yahoo chat rooms where that's actually where your boy really learned how to type and get his typing speed up, because nobody wanted to talk to you if you couldn't keep up with the scroll. You know what I'm saying? So I learned how to type quicker because I wanted to be able to keep up with the conversations and shit in chat rooms. And it eventually evolved from chat rooms to, people building their own web pages and learning how to, how to code. Everybody was teaching themselves HTML. And you had like, before MySpace, there were places like GeoCities, and you had like Black Planet and, places like that, man. And even before Black Planet, there was, like I said, Black Voices, like these were like in College Club and stuff like that, man, where people were really just learning how to interact with each other using these mediums and shit, right? And so we started learning how to communicate and build community in that way through the social media tools that were available to us. And so I'm old enough to remember when social media was new and it wasn't as ubiquitous as it is now, right? Everybody wasn't on Facebook, and everybody wasn't on Twitter. Everybody wasn't on all of these social media apps that we have available to us now, right? But one of the things over the course of time I've started to notice was just how much everyone is on social media and how much everyone shares on social media, right? And it's worrying me to a little bit, to a point, because it's getting to a point where I'm starting to feel as though some of this shit just ain't our business, right? It's not our business. Like, and this is a stance that I've had for a little while now, right? Like there have been times where I've seen parents, get on social media and they would, for the most part, get on social media and they would discipline their kids. That's one of the things that I've always not been a fan of, is parents getting on there and they wanted to embarrass their kids on social media, whether that be, a kid that was misbehaving, or especially like a boy. If like a little boy was misbehaving, their parents would get on social media, give him a really fucked up haircut, and then put him on social media so that everybody can see his real fucked up haircut. Usually it was like the cul-de-sac haircut. He looking like George Jefferson at 6 years old because he was out here messing up, and like they were embarrassing their kids. There were also times where people would like show themselves beating their kids on social media, and then right after that, what they would tend to do is like, here's what would happen back then. What would happen is when they would discipline their kids on social media, what they were looking for was the pat on the back and everybody telling them how good a parent they were. How if I was my kid, I would have done the same thing. That sort of thing. They're looking for the confirmation. They're looking for the affirmation. They're looking for people to endorse what it was that they did. But what would happen more often than not was they also, because they put these things on social media, people would express their discontent with what they were posting. Like, yo, man, why would you do this to your kid? Why would you put this in front of everybody and like have us say anything about this, right? Like, this isn't our business. This has been a thing for a long time. This isn't our business. And the first thing that those folks would say is, everybody got something to say about how I'm doing with my kid when y'all ain't understanding what this kid does, this, that, and the other. It's like, yeah, everybody has something to say because you are presenting this for everyone to give their opinion on what it is that you're posting, right? It's only when you get the non-affirming comments where it becomes a problem for the parents to post the shit, right? So, this isn't as if it's a new thing, but it's starting to become a point where like the people who have grown up where all they know is social media, and everything about their life goes to social media. Like everything is content. Everything is consumed. They live their lives in a way where everything about them is to be consumed, almost to a point where if they didn't post it on social media, oftentimes people are acting as though my life didn't happen if I didn't post it on social media for everybody to give me the likes, the dislikes, the hearts, the laughing emojis, the shrugs and everything else. Like if it doesn't happen on social media, it didn't happen. One of the things that I thought was really interesting, this was some years ago, like I started noticing like when people would go to hospitals and they would take selfies of themselves in hospitals, and something about that felt odd to me, right? Like, yo, pray for me. I'm in this hospital. I'm doing this thing. And like, again, like this is one of those things, it felt odd to me, right? To other people, it's like, yo, man, like, yeah, like let's get together, let's pray for this person, let's lift this person up and give them some hope, give them something to look forward to so that they don't check out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I get it and I understand it, but like something about it was like, yo, man, like why would you want people to see you like that? Or when I would see people that would be grieving people would be grieving and they would take pictures of themselves grieving and then like post a picture of them crying over like maybe it's a death or maybe it was just something that like really bad happened in their life, and they would take a picture and post, and it's like, yo, if I'm going through some shit, I don't know if the first thing that I'm thinking about is like, yo, I need to put this on social media. I need to make sure that Facebook sees this, right? So one of the things, like, well, a few of the things that have kind of come up over the course of the last week or so that kind of made me think that I wanted to talk about this topic were some things that I was seeing they were originally posted on TikTok, but they were making their way over to Twitter. I'm not really on TikTok that much. More often than not, if I see a TikTok, it's because it was posted someplace else, whether that be Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or someplace else, right? But I'm going to share with you guys a couple of the things that I saw on that I've seen on Twitter. And these are some of the reasons why I kind of wanted to talk about what it is we're going to talk about tonight. So let me go ahead and pull this first video up. And yeah, let me do this here. This is okay, just a second, you guys. Yeah, because this tends to just kind of start on its own. So let me pull this up so you guys can watch right along with me. Just a second. All right, do that there, and this here, and this here. All right, so check this out. This came out on this, like, again, this was originally posted on TikTok, but someone posted it on Twitter talking about some people just don't deserve kids. And so I'm going to play this so you guys can like watch and right along with me.
My son is not coming home today. At this point, I don't even know if I want him to ever come home. I really hate his dad, and it makes it so hard for me to like and care for him the way a mother should. Y'all will probably drag me in my comments, but I have to live in my truth. My baby daddy was bragging about how he took my virginity, and he kept bringing up old things that aren't even co-parenting related. So I told him that I fucked his best friend first, and that I never cared about him.
Okay, so one of the things about this is that I didn't know whether or not this should even be taken seriously, because I was kind of thrown off that this young lady set up a camera in different scenarios of her in a supposedly depressed state, walking around her house, laying on the couch, laying on the bed. For those of you who are not watching this live, she set up a camera in a room to video record herself walk into the room, or better yet, just open the door to the room, stare into the room, and then walk back out of the room in a robe. That's it. Right. And as I'm watching this, I'm just like, huh? So I'm gonna just continue to let this play though, because there's of course the closed captions that come with the TikToks, but also I was just like, yo, she had to choose music for this shit too.
I hate co-parenting with him because he won't let go of the past. We've been broken up for 10 years now, and honestly, being with him is one of my biggest life regrets. But how do you look your own kid in their face, knowing that it's impossible for you to fully love them the way a mother should because you hate their dad? The disagreement was so stupid and simple, but it resulted in my son showing up to school 4 hours late. Usually I would remove him from that situation, but this time, instead of taking him away, I'm making him stay.
All right. And so then you got like the TikTok music, which totally takes the seriousness away from all of that shit, right? But it was odd to me, right? Like it was just really just odd to me to watch someone kind of go about this thing and produce this like this video for TikTok. And again, I don't know how serious to take it. And the other part about it is how I felt as though this would have been much better had it been shared with a therapist as opposed to us, right? I don't feel like this is any of our business. I don't. Like, I get that, you may be dealing with an issue with your child's father, and like y'all are, you may be dealing with some personal issues for yourself. But like the idea that we come to social media first before we do anything else, something about that seems odd to me, right? And I don't want to dismiss anybody who's really dealing with something, and maybe they don't know that they have resources available to them. Maybe they don't have access to a therapist. Maybe they don't have someone who they can really confide in and like tell them, you know, something constructive that they can do. But our rush to social media on a lot of really, really personal things kind of bothers me. It really does. And we got a comment here in the chat here. Greg Simpson, he says, she's been running around that house all day, didn't run past any clothes to put on. Also that music. Yeah, man. Again, I don't know like how serious to take it, because I'm like, yo, like you really had to set the camera up for a lot of these scenes. Like you had to, like you picked music and you like was in the house in all different parts of the house. She's in the bathroom. She's in a hallway. She's in the living room. She's, you know, I don't know how to process that as if it's legitimate or not. I just don't. And I'm wondering, like, you know, is it a generational thing too? Because again, like I said, I'm of the age where like, yo, you know, social media from its infancy, we've been around, but you got a generation of kids now, man, where social media has always been a thing, right? They know nothing about a life without social media. They are so much more prone to share much more about their lives on social media than some of us who are like in our late 30s, early 40s, who saw this thing in its infancy, right? And I also kind of, I'm trying much more, especially since I've been going through therapy, but I'm really trying much more to temper how I respond to things and respond to people on social media, especially on Twitter, because I don't know how old a lot of these people that I'm interacting with are, right? If I'm even interacting with a real person. That's the other part about being on Twitter. Are you even interacting with a real person? But the other part of it is like, yo, there's so many people who are now on Twitter who weren't allowed to be on Twitter when I first got on Twitter because they were kids, and now they're grown and they talking reckless and it's a thing, man. It's a thing. And I don't really know what to make of it. Right. So that was the first video that I saw that like just kind of gave me pause about how much it is that we're sharing on social media and why we feel as though we have to come to social media in on like mediums like this, like TikTok, right? Now, the other part that I'm worried about, or that I'm a little bit concerned about, is that like if she feels this way about her child, like what that could mean legally for her, what that could mean legally for her child, and with, you know, how that what's the word that I'm looking for here? How that manifests itself in, like, say for instance, a custody battle. Like, does her child's father, you know, decide like, yo, I can take these videos as evidence of my child's mom being unfit. Like, she doesn't even want the little motherfucker. Like, she said that she don't love him the way that she should, as a mother should, right? Like, he could use this to his advantage in some sort of way, even if he might not even be like a really good, you know, parent his damn self. One of the complaints that she makes is that he's not necessarily as involved as he should be, and that she feels like she's being taken advantage of and everything else. But I don't know if this is the way to go about the shit, right? So this was like one of the first videos that I saw that I was like, oh man, I don't it was always making me feel uncomfortable watching that, right? So another video that I believe she had it. Is this it? Okay, so no, that's not it. Let me take that down. No, that's not it. There was another one. Okay, so yeah. Let me pull this one up so you guys can watch right along with me. Let's stop doing that one. And forgive me, y'all. Your man been a little bit out of practice, but I'm gonna get back to it. But yeah, here we go. So here's another one. And can I Can I zoom in on this? I guess not, but I'm gonna just go ahead and let this video play. Check this out.
Today is day 4 of me living life as a single adult. I've been raising my son by myself for 11 years, and I just needed a break.
Like, again, the setting up of the camera to set up a scene, to talk, to do the story. It's odd. It's odd to me. Like, she's in a bed. Like, she starts the video off. She's under the covers in a bed. She gets out of the bed. She's got a jumpsuit on to say this is day 4 of her being without her son. And
I thought getting rid of him would be the answer to all my problems, but life has actually been quite depressing without him. I'm 31 years old, and I've been raising my son by myself with no help. Every obstacle that I've ever had to face in life, I had to face it with my son. Meanwhile, for the past 11 years, his dad has been living comfortably with his mother, and I feel like they both take me for granted. So I decided to take a break. I've been a mom.
Yeah, like, she just got out of the shower with a towel and a full face of makeup. Like, it's a lot. And again, I don't want to minimize whether or not she's actually dealing with some shit, whether or not she's actually dealing with a mental health issue, whether or not she's actually dealing with something that she's not prepared to handle, right? But at the same time, as I look at these things and as they're being posted on social media, it's like, yo, why is this any of our business? Why is any of this our business? And again, I don't know if it's because I'm older and because I'm come from an age where, like, social media was in its infancy when it first got started. And, I remember, like, when Twitter was the wild fucking west, like, it was a whole bunch of shit. We was probably doing a whole hell of a lot of oversharing then, right? On Facebook too. And on some of these, other platforms, probably doing a whole hell of a lot more oversharing. And, I can remember, like, a lot of your favorite not TikTokers, but like Twitter people, a lot of your famous Facebook people, a lot of your famous Instagram people, where they were a hell of a lot more loose with some of the things they would post, a lot of the things that they would say, and some of them have rebranded, right? Some of them have rebranded. We talked a little bit about the guy who got, kicked out of the paint at the Harris County DA's office, where he was harassing black women on Twitter, and people found out who he was and found out where he worked, and like, yo, man, he been saying all this shit. He called himself rebranding as a chef, and they got his ass up out of there. People have rebranded, right? But the other part about it is something that I don't know whether or not this is healthy. Our need to feel like everybody has to know everything that's going on in our lives, right? Everybody's still feeling like they are one video away from being famous. Everyone feeling like I'm one video or tweet or one post away from everybody in the world knowing who I am. There is an incessant need for our lives to just become content. Our lives are just content now. And it's like, as I get older and as I observe these things, like, to me, it seems unhealthy, right? I mean, shit, I could tell you, like, there's probably people who feel like I overshare. I know my wife probably felt like I've overshared quite a bit. And I tried to be careful about a whole bunch of stuff that was going on between me, her, my life, and my family, everything else. Like, I don't feel like I've shared too much to y'all, but that doesn't mean that, like, people close to me don't feel like I ain't shared too much to y'all, right? So, like, I'm not necessarily not guilty of it, but at the same time, I also wonder, like, when we do these things, like, who are we doing these things for? And why do we feel compelled so much to do it, right? Like, what was it about her situation where she felt like, I need to tell the world I'm having problems with my baby's father, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know how to feel about it. And I need to get on TikTok and produce these videos so y'all can know that I'm dealing with some issues between me and my baby's father, right? And I don't know if it's just like the way this is happening or the fact that it's happening at all. But it just seems as though our need to post everything about our lives for the consumption of strangers, I find odd. I find odd. Now this video isn't done. I'm gonna go ahead and like just kind of finish this one here out.
Mom so long that I don't know who I even am outside of motherhood. I miss my son, but I need this time. For once, I want to just worry about me while he figures it out. And even that's not easy, but it needs to be done. Today is
Okay, so yeah, man. Just it's weird, right? To me, as a 42-year-old man in America and all that other shit, it just feels weird to me to watch these sorts of things being posted on social media, right? Now, this isn't just, you know, me piling on, and I don't want this to seem like that's a thing, like that I'm piling on this young lady, because I think she might be maybe 30, 31 years old. Again, this is someone who probably grew up with her entire life. Social media has kind of been a thing. There's another video that I saw on social media where like there was this let me pull this back down because this isn't what I want to show. But there was another video that I want you guys to kind of okay. So let me pull this up so you can let me stop sharing this. All right. So here's another one. And I'm going to, this is it. I'm going to pull this up so you guys can watch right along with me. Let me see if you guys, it's up. Okay, that's up. And let's watch this one.
Gotta go. She gotta go, Tasha.
Okay, and so
I'm tired.
For those of you who are not watching this video, watching the show live, this is a TikTok of a young man who's essentially kicking his girlfriend and her kids out of his home. And he's got her clothes, her belongings, and all of her kids' belongings in trash bags. And he's essentially putting all her shit out on the curb. So
I've been dealing with this for too long. She gotta go. Now, before anybody got anything to say or try to judge me for what I'm doing.
Again, he's worried about what people has to say about this, right? He's posting this on social media. But he's worried about what people are going to have to say about this. There's a disconnect there, because if you were worried about how people were going to receive this, how people were going to have something to say about this, something tells me that, like, if you were so concerned about that, then maybe, just maybe, this wasn't something that you should have been posting on social media. Just maybe, if you were worried about the thoughts and the concerns and the comments that people would have about your actions in this particular moment, this might not be something that you should be doing. But he continues on anyway.
I'm gonna tell y'all what's really going on. I can't do it no more. I done told this woman 7 times to leave my house. Get out, it's over. I don't want to be with her no more. I can't be with you. You don't want to do nothing for yourself. She don't want to better herself. She want to sit around and play the victim and act like I'm the problem. I'm not the problem. This all the stuff, she got to go. I asked her 7 times, get yourself together. I even tried to make it work. She living with me. I'm paying all the bills. She got her kids here. I didn't even accept her kids. I don't even got no kids. I didn't even accept her kids and treat them kids like mine. I love them kids, but I can't do this no more, Tasha. You got to go.
Again, this ain't our business. This ain't our business. And I know that, like, in certain ways, people will come with their relationship problems on social media, especially for like the people that they know. I oftentimes, I kind of wonder too, when they go to social media with this, although a lot of strangers are probably going to watch this, more often than not, I also wonder if this is more specifically to the people in their circle who they know are going to see this, who they know personally, who they know follow them and who have relationships with them. And they're trying to frame the perception of what's going on in this relationship so that they look a certain way to the people around them, right? Maybe the us ancillary people, the ones on the outside who are just like the collateral damage, so to speak, as to who sees this and, you know, everything else. They're not. They don't care about what we talking about. Like they looking at, if they ever see this podcast, they're gonna be like, yo man, I don't give a fuck about that dude. That nigga don't know me, right? But there is a thing where they want to set a perception around the family, the friends, the relationships that they have intimately with the people who really know them, and they want to make sure that they get a certain perception as to why things are happening, right? But again, the flip side of that is you're going to have a shit ton of people who don't know none of y'all who are looking at this and like, God damn, like this is fucked up. Now you're going to have some people who are going to say, yeah, damn, this is fucked up. You're going to have some cheerleaders who be like, yeah, I understand completely what you're going through. Ain't nothing wrong with what you're doing, this, that, and the other. And then you're just going to have some people like, right? But for the most part, people don't care. And this is one of the things that I would say when folks would discipline their kids online, it's like, yo, like I kind of lose a little bit of respect for folks who would discipline their kids online, is because, yo, man, you're putting your child out there for the consumption of a bunch of strangers who don't give a fuck about none of y'all, and everybody just kind of pointing and laughing at your situation, right? And so even in the intimate relationships with the people that you know, even some of those folks are just like, they don't necessarily care, but they are there for the drama. Girl, did you hear what's going on between, Tasha and Reggie? Girl, did you hear what was going on between, and that's a thing. People gossip. Like they looking at y'all as the entertainment. Y'all are providing entertainment for them. They don't actually care about what's going on between you and your significant other. And so again, as I watch as these things start coming down my time, I was like, yo, why is any of this our business? Why are so many young people bringing their problems to social media, right? Why are so many of them so comfortable bringing their issues like this to social media and then opening themselves up to a bunch of strangers having an opinion about something and then going off on the strangers for having said opinion about the things that you posted on the social media for everyone to consume? It's odd to me. It's odd, right? But I'm gonna kind of play a little bit more of this video before we go to the next one.
She come in all hours of the night, whenever she want to, always trying to play victim, telling everybody it's me crying to her coworkers or family, saying it's me. Y'all gotta understand, man, I'm fed up, I'm stressing. I done tried to help this girl numerous of times. Try to help her get on her feet, and she just ain't got, it's like she don't want nothing in life. I cannot be with a woman like that. All we do is argue. She don't want to work. She pick her kids up, drop her kids off to her mama house while she go out and be in the streets all night. And I'm over here paying the bills.
Hey, man, real talk. Sometimes it's better to take these L's in private. Sometimes it's better to take these L's in private. This shit ain't our business, man. This shit ain't our business. And I'm just worried about like how many young people decide that when they're going through something, the first thing they do is grab that phone and hit record. Right? The first thing that happens is like, yo, I'm hitting record. And now everybody gotta know. Excuse me. Everybody got to know about this drama that I'm going through. I don't know how to reconcile that. I just don't. Like, I'm wondering about why we have to be a part of what's going on between these people that we don't know, and why our opinions matter so much to these people we don't know. Right? Lastly, I had one last video from these shenanigans that's been going on the Twitter, and no, this isn't the one. I'm sorry. We just got finished watching that, and this was and this isn't the one either. I know I saved it. Nope, that's not it. Okay, so there was one last video that I needed to. Let me see if I hold on a second, guys. Let me see if I can pull this up on Twitter, because I know I had it on Twitter at some point. So before we do anything, let me go through my notifications, because I know this is something that was fairly recent. So let me kind of scroll through here real quick. Won't take me too long, folks. Okay, yeah, here we go. So let me pull this up so you guys can watch right along with me. Hold on just a second here, folks. Let me pause that, and then I'm gonna pull this up so you guys can watch right along with me. And this is, again, this young lady speaking about her situation with her child's father and her son. So here we go. Apparently she's battling social media now because of some of these posts. So let me let's maximize this here. All right, let's go.
Y'all got it. I just want y'all to know y'all got it. I'm a terrible mom. He with his dad. His dad. Y'all said send him to his daddy. He is with his daddy. And I'll be going to therapy. Because I'm not about to keep getting disrespected in my own home. All that. If y'all want to normalize having ungrateful, disrespectful kids and getting bullied in y'all home, feeling worthless and unappreciated, that's on y'all. But
hey, man, and some kid talking to her like,
Delete all that shit. Delete all that shit. That's playing with you, piggy.
like, is he talking to her like that? Because, like, here's the other part that I think doesn't really compute for a lot of these folks when they doing this shit, especially concerning their kids, man. At a certain point, their kids gonna be able to see these things, right? I don't know if they actually take these things into consideration. At some point, your kids are going to be old enough and able to search these things up and see some of the things you were saying, not only about them, but their the other parent and everything else. How is putting any of this out to the public at large healthy? How is any of this healthy? Right? At a certain point, these kids are going to see the things that are going on with their parents because their parents are posting so much of what's going on between each other on social media. And in many ways, it's kind of like what, like say for instance, like the kids who have to watch their parents on like reality TV, right? You start seeing things about your parents that are really fucking unsavory because your parents decided to go on a television show and like do some very unsavory things to be on television. And in many ways, a lot of these posts on social media start to reflect the things that are happening on reality TV. And like the kids looking at their parents because of some of the content that their parents are producing is like, God damn. And not only just the kids, but their friends. And even the kids that aren't their friends get to see that your mama said this shit about you on social media. This shit is not healthy. It's not healthy. And it's odd that we continue to go to social media to air our grievances. I get it when here's the thing. I get it when we're doing it. And I get it when we're doing it in regards to we like going against a social entity, whether we're like, we're highlighting an injustice with the government, whether we want to bring attention to an injustice that's happening in civic life, right? But in interpersonal relationships, with people we really know, who have nothing to do with the systemic issue that may be affecting us. Oftentimes, I don't necessarily feel like a lot of this shit is appropriate. I just don't. And maybe it's the old nigga in me, right? Maybe it's the uncle status nigga. I'm like, yo, Span, man, you 42. You grew up at a time before all this shit was going on. Maybe. But like some of this is like, you would hope that like they would just not do this, right? But yeah.
I'll be choosing me, and I'm putting myself first. I sent him with his dad. I'm about to get myself a 1-bedroom apartment. And I'm gonna live my fucking life, bro. I see Shorty every other weekend.
Not
We
Shorty.
can do some fun ass shit. We can have the most fucking fun in the world.
It's not my son. It's
But
Shorty
that's all
now.
I got for him is a good time 4 days out of the month. That's all I got for him now. Maybe a couple FaceTimes and phone conversations throughout the week, but that's it. I'm not providing financially. I'm not doing shit extra except the little fun shit that I want to do when I have him every other weekend. And that's fucking it. Y'all was right. And I'm so glad that y'all helped me resolve my issues.
So at this point, I don't know if she's even being sarcastic, whether, she's, just kind of responding to the social media attention that she's been getting off of this and that becoming a thing. But again, this happens when you invite a bunch of strangers into your life that don't give a fuck about you, don't give a fuck about your child's father, don't give a fuck about your child, period. None of these people know y'all. None of these people care that much about y'all. What happens is you become a source of entertainment for a bunch of strangers, and your child suffers because of it. Right? The child is suffering because of it. And like this goes back into what I was talking about before, whether or not like if there's ever a custody battle between this young lady and her child's father, like, yo, you could just go straight to like, hey man, you see the shit she been posting on TikTok about our son? Like, it's crazy.
So glad y'all helped me come to the realization that I am a terrible mother and that I don't need my son. He does need to be with his dad, and that's where he's finna be. I'm ready to start traveling the world. I am definitely about to take my ass to some therapy.
Please.
And I'm about to embrace my newfound freedom because my baby daddy keep telling me life's too short, life's too short, life's too short. Life's too short for me to keep getting dogged out by a motherfucker who can't even buy a pack of cigarettes, bro.
Okay. Again, why are we talking about our children in this way? Right? This is giving me fuck them kids. Right? This is giving me fuck them kids, or more specifically, fuck my kid. Because at this point, I'm over it. Right? And I'm over it for the sake of social media. Because yeah, social media has been like getting in my ass about some of the things that I've been posting about my son and about my situation. But yeah, y'all was right. Fuck my son. He can go stay with his daddy. I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna live my life. Fuck what y'all talking about, right? That's what a lot of this seems like.
That's what life is too fucking short for. Y'all pop y'all shit in the comments. Like, I don't even give a fuck. I'm not even finna argue with y'all because I don't care, bro. I'm
Okay, and this is the other part, right? Pop y'all shit in the comments. I don't even care, bro. Listen, you do care because you keep involving strangers in your shit. You keep involving strangers in your shit. This ain't none of our fucking business. None of it. None of it, man. And so, yeah, I've been seeing things like this all over my social media, man, over the course of the last week. And I'm just like, yo, man, what? Something about this just doesn't sit right and sit well in my spirit, man, in my soul and shit. But the other part about it is this, right? So, one of the things I was thinking about is some years from now, there are going to be some studies, and they're going to be studies that like kind of talk about how social media has affected our brains, how social media has really altered how we view social interactions and what we deem acceptable and not acceptable, and what we deem, what we deem appropriate for public consumption and not, right? But one of the things I was kind of thinking about, because like there have been some studies already conducted, and there was a study that was done in 2021 where they talked about how social media had been linked to like depression in adults. And so I kind of want to read a little bit from this article. This comes out of NBC News, and it says, while social media has been widely linked to anxiety and depression in teenagers, new evidence suggests that platforms such as TikTok and Instagram can leave middle-aged adults feeling sad too. The research published Tuesday in the medical journal JAMA Network Open is based on a series of surveys of 5,395 adults whose average age was 56. The surveys, conducted from May 2020 through May this year, began as a way for researchers to learn more about how adults are coping through the COVID-19 pandemic. It said over time, researchers increasingly became interested in whether social media use might be linked to changes in mental health. We were asking people who weren't depressed about their social media use, said Dr. Roy Perlis, one of the study's authors. Then we came back later to see if the people who were using certain kinds of social media were more likely to be depressed. Compared to adults who did not use social media, people who were using Facebook, people who were using TikTok, and people who were using Snapchat were substantially more likely to come back and tell us that they felt depressed the next time they filled out the survey, said Perlis, a professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School and Massachusetts General Hospital. The research does not prove social media causes depression. Indeed, it is possible that people already feeling sad were more than likely to log on to such sites, but it adds to evidence of a growing mental health crisis in the United States. Nearly 1/3 of American adults reported feeling depressed in an October study, up from 8.5% from before the pandemic. Survey respondents who had minimal symptoms of depression early on were more than likely to report an increase in symptoms in later surveys if they use social media. And like, yo, man, it's a lot to, I think we're in the early stages of like starting to figure out how badly social media has kind of altered some of the ways in which we behave. But again, I don't know how much of this. Is just me being an old nigga, right? Me being a nigga in my 40s who feel like these kids ain't got a handle on shit, and like, I don't know how much of it is that, and how much of it is like, no, real talk. This shit ain't right. This shit ain't cool, and like at a certain point, we may have to curb some of these actions. I don't know how we do it. I really don't. I wish I did. I wish I had an answer for it. But as we watch more and more people decide to share so much more of their intimate lives with people who are strangers, where everything about their lives becomes content in large part that they don't even get paid for, right? That's the other thing that I think is really strange about this. Content in large part that they don't even get paid for. They are opening themselves up to the criticism of strangers, opening themselves up to their lives being opened up to people who don't give a damn about them. And everybody, at a certain point, especially at a certain age, of a certain age, feeling as though this is perfectly okay. And I worry about that. I do. And so I just hope that at some point we can actually think about, before we hit the record button, is this healthy? And I know that the toothpaste may already be out of the tube, the horse may already be out of the barn. But I do hope at some point we look at this and be like, yo, man, I don't know if this is the way to go. I don't want the first thing to be, when something is wrong happening to me, the first thing that I need to do is go to social media. Now, again, I understand that there are sometimes where that shit has its place, right? Like, say for instance, some police brutality shit is happening. Yeah, you want everybody to know about that. You're being discriminated against in the workplace. Everybody should know about that. But you having a spat with your significant other, that ain't none of our business. You not necessarily agreeing with your significant other on how you guys raise your kids, that ain't none of our business. And so, like, I wonder, like, you know I can say that, but who the fuck am I? Right. And so I guess, like, that's where the thing becomes like, yo, how do we determine what's appropriate for social media consumption and what isn't? And so before I get out of here, that's the question, and that's the challenge that I lay out to you guys, is how do you guys feel about how we interact with each other on social media? How much is everybody's business, and how much is, like, you should probably keep a little bit closer to the vest, right? How much of this shit should we really keep closer to the vest? And that's really kind of what I want to, end this show on tonight. How do we move forward without necessarily putting everybody in the business that doesn't pay them, right? So yeah, man, that's it, man. That's what I got to say about that. But I'm out to get up out of here. Right. So before we get up out of here, I do want to remind you guys how to get in touch with us here at the Mrs. Span Official Podcast and let your voice be heard, man. You can go ahead and hit us up at our hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Go ahead, leave me those voicemail messages. Of course, those messages will get played here and replied to here live on the show. You can also hit me up on our email at feedback@thespanreport.com. That's feedback@thespanreport.com. Go ahead, leave me those emails, and those emails will get read here and replied to here live on the show. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Span. So go ahead, follow me there. Chop it up with your man Span throughout the week. And also leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and or Stitcher Radio. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get read here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Doesn't cost you a dime, man. Just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Mrs. Span Official Podcast, man. Real talk. I am about to get on up out of here. I will talk to you guys again soon. But until next time, fam. Peace.